So a couple of weeks ago, I posted my arrangement of Shelter from Stellar Blade, and somebody asked if I had sheet music for it, and I don't. I'm actually terrible at reading sheet music. Typically, the way that I learn my pieces is by just pulling up the song on Spotify using my shower speaker that my friend gave me as a gift, but I don't use it for the shower because it works so well for this. I listen to the song, I pick out the melodies, I hear all of the instruments and the voices, and then I arrange it into something that sounds like what I'm hearing. I made a step-by-step process so I can walk you through how I did this. If you want to learn how to play this piece, I'll explain what notes I'm hitting and go voice by voice, like what's the guitar doing, what's the piano doing. I'll show you how I'm juggling all of these things. So this will be more or less a how to learn by ear tutorial, the way that I do it, walking you through how I made this, and you can learn how to play this song from this video as well. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and I'm thinking maybe I can make an unlisted video for you and leave it in the comments, so it'll be like a video comment response. But anyways, so let's pull up Spotify here. So this is my only resource that I use to learn a song like this. Yes, I do actually enjoy Spotify. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a few seconds of the music and we're gonna listen to it together. Then I'm going to explain what I'm hearing and show you my process of how I put this together. And you'll be able to see which notes I'm hitting as well. Let's listen to the first couple of seconds here. Okay, so what is one thing that stands out? To me, it is the notes are high pitched, right? So that means we're gonna be on this side of the piano. You may or may not know this. One of my piano students actually wasn't aware of this, but this side of the piano, the right side, is gonna be the high notes. And this side of the piano is gonna be the lower notes, right? High notes and low notes. So I hear a lot of high pitched notes. So we're gonna be on this side of the piano for the most part, right? So that's one thing that's happening here. So now, the first step of this is, what is my ear following? What's the melody, right? So we're gonna pick one note out of what we just heard, and we're gonna try to find it on the piano. So let's go ahead and listen one more time. So that one right there. La. I'm not a very good singer. Okay. But this helps me find the notes on the piano because I don't have perfect pitch, and neither do a lot of people. But what I do have is really good relative pitch. I've trained myself on how to find certain notes, and I can tell that if I'm up here, that's a little bit too high, but if I'm down here, that's lower than what I'm hearing. So we just narrow it down until we find the right note. So I'm gonna hum it. This is one of my tricks that I use. I hum the note that I'm looking for. La. So there it is. So that's literally what I do to find it. I tinker around on the piano until I find the note. And so we found the first note right there. So now let's figure out the next couple of notes. Let's go ahead and listen again. Okay, so I hear two notes above that note that are going higher. It goes, and then, since I can't sing this high, let's bring it down and let's figure it out here. So I hear this one's first, and then la, la. There it is. So that note is next, but it's up here because we've heard that it's higher than this note. So let's listen. Right? And now I'm gonna take a guess. Maybe it's probably one of these notes up here. Okay, so I've made a guess. This might be it. So let's confirm that and double check. Yep, that's it, right? So what we do, we make a guess. That's our hypothesis, and then we test the hypothesis against the music to see if we're right. This is literally the scientific method on the piano. That's what I think is really cool about this. Here's my hypothesis, and I tested it against the music, and that's what we found. But I'm also hearing something else. There's like a strange sound effect that's happening after all of that. So let's try to figure that out. It's kind of like a reversed note, right? And that is this note up here, because in the beginning, if you watched my arrangement of this song, I go like this. To mimic what I'm hearing on there. So let me play along with this so we can see if it matches. And it totally matches, right? So we figured it out. And that is, what is my ear following, right? That's the first step. What's the melody? Technically, that's the melody, right? So now let's move on to the next one. How many other instruments / voices are there, and what are they doing? And in a lot of these songs, including like pop songs and especially orchestral music and instrumental, there are many other instruments that are playing. So I also hear some notes below this one that maybe the left hand is playing. I mean, what else would we play it with? That's supporting this, right? So we figured out the melody. Now it's time to figure out the harmony, which is the second most important thing. Not necessarily what your ear is following, but supporting what your ear is following. So let's listen. Right there, I heard a deep it's a very subtle, quiet la. So let's find that note. La. La. It might be this one. It might be one of these two. Let's listen. It's not that one. It's this one. So these notes are technically the same, right? But this one is a higher pitch note than this one is, right? And if we listen to that note again, la, that's too low. That's way too low. This is what it actually is, but this is a little bit too high, this is too high, but these notes are obviously too high. So we have a range here. It's like it's somewhere down here. It might be one of these ones, because these are the closest, but this is the one that it is, right? And it's important to me, at least, to be very accurate with what I'm hearing, because I don't want to take any shortcuts, right? I don't want to misrepresent what I'm actually hearing. So I think, and we'll test this, that it goes like this. So let's figure it out. Yep, so what I'm hearing is so there's the first part, but we're actually missing something. So that's one other, not instrument, but voice that there is, right? But there's another one. There's some other sound effect that's going on. I don't know what instrument it is, but it's at the very beginning. You might have been like, Jack, there's something else. I don't know what it is, but you're not saying anything about it. Now I'm gonna tell you about it. Listen. It's that weird sound, right? That's before even the first note. It kind of fades in like this. Right there. So what is that? La, la. I don't know what it is. I think it's la. So let's kind of match our tone to it. So it's this note, right? I know what all the notes are, but I'm explaining to you how I'm actually finding these. And we can hear it as the music is playing. So what I did to emulate that is just play it very quietly, like this. This is literally what I did. Right? But that still doesn't sound complete. There's something else that's missing right there. I hear another note. It's not just this one. It's a combination of these two. Because we get this weird tense harmony going on right here. These notes clash. This is what I'm hearing. So there's the entire first part. That's every single note, note for note, what I'm hearing right there. So how I'm playing it is I usually just start off with my index finger like this. Then I stretch over, because I feel like I can play this a little bit nicer than I could with my thumb, right? And then I play these notes stagnated, like not at the same time, but then I switch over to my thumb. Let me just make sure I'm actually in frame here. All right, so that's the step-by-step process, and we just went to step 3 actually, which was how do I combine all of them and play them at the same time, right? So that's just listening for which note comes before the next one or the other one, right? So this is the first one, then these two notes, then it's this one, then, right? So that's what's going on. So now let's figure out the second part. Okay, so that's kind of an ugly chord, to be honest, right? So going through that process, I'm gonna skip steps a little bit because I'm gonna make another video on how to learn by ear, even more in depth than this one. So if you're a little bit confused, just stay tuned for that. Okay, so what am I hearing right there? Let's find out. La. That's the top note that I hear. There's other notes going on, but la. That's the one. We know that this note is in there, so let's figure out what the other notes are. We figured this out one note at a time, really. So this is what it is, right? So now you know how I pick out all these notes. Now I'm gonna kind of transition into which notes I'm actually hitting, so you can see. And like I said, I'm gonna skip over the nitty-gritty parts of how I'm figuring it out because it's gonna take way too long. All right, so this is what's going on here. Let me play it, and then I'll play it on the piano. So that part is this. So that's what's going on there. So let's start from the beginning. It goes like this. Now, this next part here. So what you're hearing there are these four notes. They're rolled together. So we've got A flat, B flat, D flat, and F. We're gonna roll that, and that's over B. So once we get to F, we're gonna hit B on our left hand, so like this. So let's listen. And I want to show you that that's what we're hitting. Right there. All right, now what's the next part? All right, so what's going on here is my thumb is ready to come up here and hit this note. So it goes. So we're gonna hit this chord here. Thumb is on D flat, then back to B with the pinky. Then this thumb is gonna hit E flat, then A flat, D flat. And then my thumb is actually gonna come up here and hit F. And the reason why is because there's still more higher pitched things going on up top. Right there. Wait, no, that's not it. Right there. And it doesn't really matter if it's your thumb or your index finger or whatever, just be consistent with it. So. And we want to play these softer because they are not the melody. That's not what your ear is following. You don't want to steal your listener away from the melody, which is what they want to be following. So left hand is quieter here. Now the right hand is quieter. Right? Just like that. And then the next part. That chord is this one. This is an inverted C sharp minor chord, starting on with your thumb on A flat, like this, and that's going to be over A. So it just rolls it really quickly. And then the melody is, let's listen to it. It goes like this. So my right hand entirely goes like this. Right? So these notes right here that I'm hitting are just notes to accompany the melody. So I'm playing these ones louder because I want your ear to follow that one. And the left hand goes like this. And then it just goes like that. So all together that looks like this. That's B, A flat, and E, and then. So that's the intro. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, so now that we've finished the intro, let's go on to the next part here. So what's going on there? We've got two instruments. The left hand is going to be in charge of the guitar, and the right hand is going to be in charge of the piano, what we're hearing here. So the left hand, which is the guitar, is playing this. F, E flat, A flat, B flat, then E flat again. And the right hand is keeping rhythm on these notes. E flat, A flat, B flat, and C, like this. Just like that, listen. We're gonna roll this first chord, and our left hand's gonna start on F here. But at the same time, while my left hand crosses over here, still keep the rhythm here. So it's gonna look like this. Literally resting on top of my other hand to get those other notes. Whichever one of these notes that my left hand is playing, I just leave that note out whenever it overlaps with the right hand. And it ends with these two, like this. Just like that. And then it goes on to another chord here. So this is what's going on. Our right hand is going to be playing these notes. G flat, A flat, B, E flat. This is what it's going to start on. That's the right hand, and our left hand is going to be doing this. That's what's going on there. And combined, the same way that we did the last one is like this. And then my index finger is down here. Then I come over and grab these ones like this. So that's the right hand. Left hand is combined. Then I hit this one again, but it's not rolled. And it's the exact same right hand. So again, right hand is. Just like that. Left hand is. Combined, it looks like this. Then we've got and our left hand is going to go like this. My left hand thumb is helping my hand out like this. So it's rolling that chord right there. Once I get here, these two notes go at the same time. But my right hand is going, watch my right hand. I'm gonna hit this note again, or all this chord, so it's... Then I come back here, like this. Then my hand stretches out like this and hits these two notes together. If your hands aren't big enough to do this, you can leave this note out. It's not that big of a deal. So, now our pinky is gonna come up here and hit this one, because we can hear that in the music here. That's that one right there. Then we're gonna go. So again, it's gonna look like this. Then we've got a different chord coming up here. It's gonna look like this. So the right hand starts off with these. Over D flat here with our pinky. Like that. And then those two chords right there are this. So our left hand's gonna play these notes and our right hand is gonna play these notes. But we're gonna play this note louder than this one. And then it goes like that. So, just like that. So this is what it's gonna look like. And I keep this note held down for both of those chords. Okay, so that was the entire intro. And before I go into the main parts of this piece, I want to just let you know there's a lot of voices here. There's 3 voices that I'm juggling. I'm juggling the guitar, the piano that we just learned, and I'm also juggling the voice. At one point, there's gonna be 4 voices playing at the same time. And this more or less tutorial of how to play this piece and how I'm figuring all of these out, you can pick and choose which ones you want to keep in there for your skill level. So if all you want to do is just keep the bass line and the melody, that's perfectly fine. It'll sound better than most of the other tutorials on this piece out there. I don't want this to scare you. I'm going to show you what I am doing and you can choose which ones do I want to keep in there for your skill level. Let's listen to the first part here. So we hear the singer, right? That's what your ear is following. Those notes are like this. The other things that are happening in this part here is the guitar, which is the same as what we were playing earlier. Just different notes a little bit, but you'll see. So we hear a little bit of... That's what's going on underneath the melody. So this is what we got. Like that. So our left hand is literally just going. Right? And the melody is like this. Just like that, right? But we've also got the piano in there. So there's 3 voices. There's the voice, there's the guitar, and then there's the piano keeping the rhythm here, just like how we did over here. but I kind of changed some notes around to make it sound a little bit more pleasant on the piano. So this is what my right hand is doing. I kind of hit these notes to begin with, along with this one. Just like that. So I go. So it's these two notes, then all these notes, then C minor right here, and then just E flat, and then C and B flat. So like this. But I'm doing a little bit more with my left hand here too. This is what my whole entire left hand is doing. So we've got it's just like a glorified version of, I think that sounds a little bit more delicate, sweet on the piano, and those other extra notes kind of fill in for the piano rhythm thing that's going on. So all of that together looks like this. Just like that. Any note that is not the melody, what your ear is following, we want to play quieter than the melody. So this is the most important thing. Hold on, I'm gonna scratch my head. So then this is what I'm doing with my right hand. So my right hand kind of takes over for that stuff. I hit my thumb here. So it goes thumb on B flat, then middle finger on B flat, and then all of these fingers hit these notes, and then my pinky comes up here. So like this. So I'm still getting but I'm just using my right hand because I want to set up my left hand for the next note, or the next chord. Now we've got more singer notes, so let's listen to what that is. So that's, right? And that's going to be over this note, so it starts out like, basically, the basic bare bones of everything is, right? So we're gonna go, so this is an E major chord, but it's an open E major chord. So E, B, A flat, like this. So that's the basics of what's going on. This is what I'm doing. I'm rolling these notes here, and then my thumb is gonna come over to here, and then I'm gonna hit these notes here. So that's kind of almost there, and then we've got with our thumb here. And then on top of that, I go like this. That's what my right hand is doing. One more time. Just like that. And my left hand, after these notes, I come up and hit these ones. All together, it looks like this. Just like that. So from the beginning of this part, it goes. I just realized I told you a wrong note. Instead of starting out like this, you can do that. This is a good mistake that I just did, because that's the easier version of what I'm actually doing, which is this. What I did was I'm stretched out like this. So just for some context, this is what I'm doing. So I'm stretched out like this. I take this note right here from this chord that I showed you earlier, and I put this one up here. I'm playing this, my middle finger, louder than all the rest of these notes. So it sounds like this. These notes are still being played, but they're very quiet. So it adds to the atmosphere of this chord. So without it, sounds like that. But with it, very quietly, it adds this very beautiful atmosphere to these notes here. So this is what I'm really doing. I'm giving you all the options here. This is the easiest bare bones way to do it, like this. Because that's perfectly fine, right? But again, I'm just showing you how I do it if you wanted to challenge yourself. I want to make sure that I let you know. I think I may have mentioned this before. If I did, I'm going to cut this part out. The melody chords, like this one with my middle finger, is louder because that's what your ear is following. If I played it all the same, like this, it gets completely lost, right? So I want to be hitting the melody notes louder than the accompany notes, or else it's going to sound, instead of, right? We're going to lose it like that. So we've got just like that. That's the beginning there. Let me highlight this video so I remember that this is a good one. I'm gonna change the battery real quick. All right, we're back. So, where were we? That part right there is this. So it's just an octave of, and on E I go, so this is pretty simple. So it's just like that. And the left hand, what I'm doing is this. And if you notice, since you've probably recognized this pattern by now, that is like mimicking the piano in there, because that sounds a lot like, and it's all patterns right here, right? So that's what my left hand is doing, and all together it sounds like this. Like that. That's relatively easy, just, and if you want, you can roll those too. If it's a little bit harder to reach, you can go like that. And then so it's the same as it was earlier, but it's a little bit different here. So instead of that in the left hand, so it's all the same, except we're not starting on this one anymore. We're starting on this one right here. So it's going to be, so in very simple, basic terms here, this is what's happening. Just like that. So I'm going like this to start out, to hit that piano part. Then I hit these notes, then these notes. So I basically go, and then I go like this. So basically this half of my hand, which is my pinky, is hitting the melody, and it's also going to be hitting the melody for this note too. These other fingers, everything that's not my pinky, is hitting the piano. So what I'm doing is I'm dividing my hand. My pinky's responsible for the melody, and the other parts of my hand are responsible for the piano rhythm thing that's going on. And then for this last note here, I'm rolling this chord, which is an A flat major chord, but it's in a different inversion. So instead of it being over here, we're just moving it up here. And it's going to be over this note and this one. So instead of just simply, my left hand is going like this. Because we still need to get this, all of that piano thing in there. So my left hand, it's adding an extra note. So that's what's happening. So, altogether, let's review again. This is what I'm doing. And then it goes like this. My left hand is going. Right hand is. When I say I'm playing certain notes, the melodic notes, louder, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm actually playing them louder. I'm playing the other notes quieter than the melody one. Because if I'm playing these at a decent volume and I just play the melody louder, then everything is going to be louder. And we don't want that, right? So what I'm really doing, what I mean by play the melody louder, in reality, I'm playing everything else softer and quieter than the melody. So it's still nice and... it's like it's whispering. It just adds to the atmosphere. Even a note pressed super quietly will add to everything, whether or not they realize it. So, let's listen to what happens next. That's this. Just like that. So we're going in an octave. And I like to... and then for the left hand, it's going like this. I'm like rolling these two notes because my hand's not quite big enough to confidently play those notes, so I quickly roll them like this. So I do, I don't know if you can see that. So this one and this one, I do them together. So, and then the other notes, it goes like this. Just like that. So all together, that looks like this. Just like that, right? Okay, so everything again is this.